dismembered her in the middle of the street and then burned her body. Okay. This is the kind of stuff they did. They were their entire goal during that time period was to destroy anything that they believed that was freaking heretical against the Christian church, and a lot of information was lost. So yeah, I do agree with that. That's a good point. And the Hindu goddess that you were talking about, who's associated with the cosmic dance of destruction and creation, is Kali. So
Yes.
just to point
Kali.
that out.
I was trying to
The
remember the
cohort
name. Like
of
that.
Shiva.
Well, Kali especially is important too because you start getting into, if you want to get into modern esoteric, you start looking at the fact that Kali is actually portrayed on a statue in front of CERN. That
Yes.
that kind of brings things into perspective a little bit. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, they actually. So funny thing. I don't know if you guys know about this, but they actually performed pagan Hindu rituals there in front of the statue, and they wanted to play it off as a joke. However, they are there destroying atoms. They're destroying particles, and yeah, it actually fits. Yes, they want to give birth to something by destroying things, and if that's the way they think they're gonna do it, then I mean that's fine, as long as they don't create a black hole and suck a planet.
We call like Norwegians. They have that thing about fight during the day, come back to life and eat at night, and then refight again and die. And
well,
like
you're talking about Valhalla.
yeah,
No,
there's some
reincarnation is interesting when it comes, like, you have different interpretations of it. Um, the destruction thing always sticks out to me when it comes to it because, like, me and Otto was even talked about even when, like, people who ascend to Deva to Deva, okay, even their time as a Deva comes to an end. Does that make sense? Like, they don't stay in the Deva realm. And I know Otto doesn't like hearing the term realm, but I mean, I've always heard the term realm being used.
It's a realm
You know what I mean?
for sure.
It's like samsara. You know, samsara is different levels of beings. Like, you have the hungry ghosts, and then you have the devas, which is up on top, and it actually originated out of the Hindus. None of this came from the Buddhist beliefs. It was the Hindu belief system that where this came from. You know, and the deva, even their time in the deva realm comes to an end. It's everything just dissolves and vanishes, and they're reincarnated back into our mortal realm where we're at. So even devas have to become mortal again, and that has to do with rebirth, and it has to do with destruction. So you have that cycle that's taking place there. You know what I mean? That's one thing that really sticks out to me when it comes to Kali and all of that. So, but yeah, that is a pretty interesting stuff. And I mean, when it comes to these emerald tablets, you can see it there too. And I try to stay away from the whole religious aspects of it when it comes to looking at this stuff, and kind of look at it from an like an outsider's point of view.
what is that emerald tablets? What are they from?
That's what
The
we're trying to tell you. There's really no, there's no official, there's no official source of where it came from.
I mean, we can assume that it came from Egypt,
well,
as the primary god is Thoth, the god of knowledge.
No, but I mean the
So
tablet.
Well, hold on there. Let me. Now, Toth is actually an interesting situation. See, if you go according to the teachings when it comes to Toth, Toth was actually an outsider who came to Egypt and taught the Egyptians math and science and writing. Okay, but he wasn't originally from Egypt. He was an outsider, and he was actually Tawatis from the from
well,
the from the Phoenicians up in around Canaan.
well, I was gonna say Canaanites.
Yeah.
So yes, which is right next door to Egypt, um, and part of Egypt. So, but a lot of these gods were uh, inducted to the pantheon.
I'm thinking he was more.
There's only few primary ones.
I would actually say he was
Yeah.
Hittite, to be honest, because the Hittites they seem to have like a lot of the Egyptian and the Greeks as well as as no, as well as the Babylonian teachings. Like you can see it all
Well,
over
Rome
the.
wasn't the first empire. The
Right.
Egyptians had their empire as well. So yes, you kind of have incorporations of these neighboring nations to the culture, of course.
What country was that before Egypt? They were there before Egypt was built. It was on. I seen the video of it, and it was a small civilization there before Egypt was built.
Well, that's kind of controversial. That you're talking about before, and it was actually a desert. Before the shift in the plates, where the land had, like you know how there's the Alps. The Alps was caused because of shift in the plates that pushed Africa up farther into the European Alps or the European thing, and it caused the Alps to rise up. And that in turn made freaking Egypt turn into a desert land where before it was actually a tropical region. And
Hmm.
they're still trying to. You're going into like the Scorpion King era,
Well,
maybe even before that. So
it was on YouTube. It was about.
I'll stop
It was.
watching YouTube. I keep telling you, you got to stop watching YouTube, stop watching Facebook. That stuff is just
There's nothing wrong with having
whatever,
a
dude.
university
You
degree,
guys told me to
but
give.
you got to make sure you spread out your research.
Yeah, I
I feel
agree.
like
Yeah,
YouTube's a good, can
yeah,
be
but
a good source.
I can only go to
Yeah.
places that I can hear it from. You know, if it doesn't speak about it, I don't really know.
Well, I mean, the best thing for you to do when it comes to that stuff is to look at the people that you're watching, and especially when you go to Facebook and you see a bunch of nonsense being just completely thrown out at you. You know what I'm saying? Don't. There's a good chance that you don't want to be there listening to these people. You know what I mean? Like, go to people
Again,
freaking.
I said YouTube's it can be a good source, but again, it can also have lots of nonsense.
Right. So
Lots of nonsense.
just use your common sense and I know what you're saying though, but use your common sense. Don't fall for everything. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
me and I invited Mr. Robot to come on. You know, if he wanted to come on, and if he did come on, you'd have heard so much crazy shit. He would have he would have been talking to us about freaking remote viewing and shit, and how freaking Atlanteans are gonna, or how it. Well, actually, V's here. I mean, we might still hear
Yeah, I was just thinking the Robert and Mr. Robot that would just drive me absolutely insane.
it. I don't think.
Yeah.
You want to know some stuff that'll drive you absolutely insane?
What?
Watch some of the Black Israelite stuff. some
I
of the
actually,
African professors and that stuff.
I actually agree with a lot of the stuff they say. I don't think a lot of that is as crazy as what you think it is. Like especially when it comes to the pre-Nubia stuff. Okay, like a lot of people think Nubia,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean, it was the end all of it. But before Nubia was Christian, there was a lot of history there that people don't want to look at. Like people don't want to
And it's covered up, straight up.
right. You know, people love to talk about the pyramids of Giza, but they don't want to talk about all of the thousands of freaking smaller pyramids that are all over Nubia. And why are they there? You know what I mean? It's like the connection is pretty
See,
simple if you look at
you're
it the
exactly right.
you know like there's that's not the pyramids aren't a secret. There's no freaking forgotten history, and it's right there in your face if you go just a little bit south and you look at
Isn't
Nubia.
there forgotten history how they're built? For what purpose? Well,
400 pyramids, and there's one famous one is the black 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 pyramid or flat one. It the way it's constructed and all that, it's not built. It's and that's what they call it, the Black Pyramid. And it was the very first one that was built with writing inside of it. And they did a lot of uh, scanned the inside of the pyramids inside of it.
But yeah, I agree on the whole thing with a lot of that stuff. Now, my whole point about when it comes to the whole African thing, when it comes to um, pre-Christian ideas and religions and stuff like that, when it comes to Africa, that's what I always had an issue with about a lot of people. Because see, when I sobered up at a freaking a treatment center called the Amani House, and I know that's Kwanzaa before you even go there. All right, but a lot of those people freaking talked a lot of good sense. And they said that a lot of the traditions and the beliefs that the Africans had was freaking stolen away from them because of Christianity. Okay,
Absolutely.
and that's one thing that really stuck with me. And when I started doing this research, I found out a lot of facts that freaking people don't want to look at. Okay, like when you go in there and you look at freaking the Giza plateau and you look at all these hieroglyphs, why is it all the older freaking hieroglyphs portray the Egyptians as black? Okay, but the newer kingdoms freaking they're always tanned. Well, it's because originally Nubia ruled side by side with Egypt. They were both freaking one country that ruled together before uh the the Assyrians invaded.
Nubia, that'd be modern day Ethiopia.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not the only ones that has the same thing about the church thing. I was watching it on the internet, the in Africa, the church, and some of the people. Well, for what they were talking about, that they followed the thing of some of the tribes of the the oh, what do you call the ones that no one likes. They rather slaughter them.